G'day everyone and welcome to our round 3 preview of the big match at Adelaide Oval this afternoon at 2:50. The Kangaroos, the resurgent Kangaroos, versus the bombarding, the crusading Adelaide Crows. Of course, last week we had a fantastic win over the Bombers by 61 points, and the Roos had a very good win, although maybe the Dees form isn't as good as we expected. The Roos getting up by 59 points in the end after a close tussle. The lineups for this week, there's only one change for Adelaide, a forced change. Nick Murray comes out with a jarred knee. Sounds like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, and in comes James Borlase. A little bit of a surprise, but we'll talk about those matchups as we go through the lineups. It could have been Geordie Butts, of course, but the club have preferred James Borlase this particular week. Looking at the forward setup, and we can see that there's... Look, we match up pretty well, to be honest with you. I think the Bombers have... the Kangaroos have got 3 tools in there that cover our 3 tools, and they've got a good spread of medium and small size players there. So I don't think it'll be quite as much a mismatch as it was last week. In the middle, of course, that's where the Kangaroos have their strengths with Zeri in the ruck and a cast of thousands going through the midfield there. You can see by the stats that I'm putting up there, statistically we're fairly even with North Melbourne this season. We are up in front in a few stats and they are in a few others. So statistically it should be a fairly close fought game, although we do play very different styles. You can see defensively we have a pretty good matchup there. Borlase, I think, has come in to take on Darling. I think they probably thought that Geordie was maybe not mobile enough for Darling. Borlase, although he's not all that tall, Darling's not all that tall either, and I think he's got a fair amount of strength about him, James. So I think that'll be the matchup. Let's have a look at the scout report brought to you by Once Sports Analysis Software, of course. This first particular one here, I just want to have a look at how North Melbourne moved the ball, and look, they are not afraid to kick to contests. They there's not a lot of method as we work through these particular clips. There's not a lot of method here. They will go to contests. They will rely on their smalls. They're a workman-like team, and they're quite happy to rely on their tools to bring the ball to ground and then let their smalls go to work. So that's a little bit different to what we've been up against over the previous couple of weeks. There's not a lot of structure to, or not that I can tell anyway, to the way that Clarko's got them going about. I think at the moment it's all about effort. You can see here they don't commit a huge amount to that side of the ground. And again, they're happy to kick to a contest here. Melbourne have zoned them up, so there's not a lot of space. And there's not a lot of... I guess the difference I see between the way they use the ball and the way we use the ball in transition is that we're very much about ball security. We don't want to kick to one-on-one contests unless we can help it, whereas North Melbourne are quite happy to back themselves in. They'll kick to a contest and they don't mind running ahead of the ball either. So, you'll see as this ball comes in here, they've got a couple of blokes running ahead of the ball, and whilst this one goes out, it's just typical. The defensive setup, this is a stoppage in the Dees forward 50, and you can see there's not a lot of care factor about the backside of the ground. And again, not a lot of run. Daniel just has to hat kick this out. There's not a lot of run, even though there was room to do so. And you can see again that they're just quite willing just to get ahead of the ball, just to run to the contest and just bustle the ball forward. To be honest with you, it looks very Richmond-like. It's very Richmond 2017 to 2020, where the ball just gets hustled and bustled and hustled and bustled. And you can see, they're all running forward of the ball, and it's fantastic when it works. And it's a product of Clarko really liking to compress the ground, so there's a lot of space outside of the immediate vicinity of the contest. Again, another situation where they're just kicking the contest, and you can see here, if you look down the ground here, there's a lot of compression in that middle side of the ground. There's a fair amount of players there, and they don't look to open it up. They don't look to switch around. They just go to another contest, and it's all about effort. All about effort. That's fine. I think at their stage of development, it's a pretty good way of going about it, just to get them working together. But you can see them moving forward. There it goes again. Just hack it forward. See all the space there in the forward 50 for North, and the Kangaroos, they'll just run to that contest and they'll just hustle and bustle. So, look, and I went through the whole game last week, and that's all I saw. In the middle, just really quickly, they don't body up very much. Last week the Bombers bodied up quite hard against us. The previous week, not so much St Kilda. So we might be able to see a little bit more openness in our centre clearances, and that I think suits us. Look, our advantages, I think the main advantage that we've got is that we've just got more avenues to goal. I think our big three plus our smalls just give us more opportunities to score. We have a better structure on transition. I think the hustle and bustle is 2 years old for us, and we're far more structured now, and I think we do have enough defensive options to cover the Kangaroos forwards. I think Ball Ace and Keane, together with Worrell, should be more than sufficient. In terms of dangers, I think really the main danger that we have, apart from obviously the form of Cherry and the ruck, is just their intensity. They do go hard. Their smalls work really hard. At clearance, they work really hard as well. We have been a little bit slack over the first few games, but we're going to have to match their intensity. Look, I think we'll get up by 32 points. I think we're just a little bit more polished than they are, and I think we'll get over the line. Look, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, tonight we have the weekend wrap at 8:30, and we'll see you then.